Let me tell you something about men that a lot of women still don't understand. A man will move mountains for the woman who makes him feel like he's winning at life when he's beside her. I'm not talking about money. I'm not talking about beauty alone. I'm talking about value, real value. The kind of value that touches a man's soul so deeply he starts making sacrifices he never thought he'd make before. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Harvey, let me tell you something that changes the entire way a man looks at a woman. The moment a woman truly respects herself, everything around her changes. Her walk changes. Her standards change. The way she speaks changes. The way she allows people to treat her changes. And when a man notices that kind of woman, he reacts differently because deep down, every man understands one thing: a woman who values herself is hard to replace. See, too many women today are trying to convince a man to love them. They overtext. They overexplain. They overgive. They sacrifice their dignity just to hold on to a man who hasn't even decided if he deserves them yet. And the sad part is, the more they chase, the less respect they receive. Because men are not built to value what comes too easily. I know that may sound hard, but it's the truth. When a woman constantly seeks validation, a man starts believing she doesn't see value in herself. And if you don't see your own value, why should anybody else? That's why confidence matters. Not loud confidence, not arrogance, not pretending to be better than everybody. I'm talking about quiet confidence, the kind where a woman knows exactly who she is without needing applause from the world. A woman who respects herself doesn't beg for attention. She doesn't compete for love. She doesn't lower her standards because she's afraid of being alone. She understands that loneliness is temporary, but settling for disrespect can damage your spirit for years. That mindset right there changes the energy between a man and a woman. See, men test women all the time without saying a word. A man watches how much disrespect you tolerate. He watches how quickly you forgive bad behavior. He watches whether you stand on your standards or abandon them the moment you start liking him. And when a woman keeps accepting less than she deserves, a man unconsciously lowers the value he places on the relationship. But when a woman knows her worth, a man becomes careful with her. Her presence feels valuable because she treats herself like she matters. She's not available every second of the day. She has goals. She has discipline. She has self-control. She has a life that does not revolve around a man. And let me tell you something, that kind of independence drives men crazy in the best way. A woman who can be happy without a man creates curiosity inside a man. Because now he knows you're with him because you want him, not because you need him to survive emotionally. That changes everything. Men don't want to feel like your entire world depends on them. That pressure becomes heavy. But when a man sees a woman standing strong on her own, he starts admiring her deeply. And listen, self-respect shows up in the little things too. It's in how you respond to disrespect. It's in whether you tolerate lies. It's in whether you keep giving chances to someone who keeps hurting you. A self-respecting woman understands that love without respect is emotional slavery. She knows that chemistry alone cannot build a healthy relationship. You know what makes a man risk everything for a woman? Fear of losing her? Not February. R because she's controlling him. Not fear because she's toxic. Fear because he knows her value. When a man realizes you can leave and still be okay, he starts appreciating you differently. That's human nature. People value what they might lose. And a woman who respects herself creates that feeling naturally. She's not threatening to leave every 5 minutes. She's not playing childish games. But her standards are clear. If you disrespect her repeatedly, she will walk away and protect her peace. That kind of strength forces a man to step up. See, men admire women they cannot easily manipulate. If every little compliment makes you fold, if every apology makes you ignore your standards, eventually a man stops seeing consequences for his behavior. But a woman with self-respect teaches people how to treat her without saying many words. And let me explain something else. A self-respecting woman doesn't lose herself in relationships. Oh, this is where many people make mistakes. They stop investing in themselves once they fall in love. Suddenly their dreams disappear. Their hobbies disappear. Their friendships disappear. Their confidence disappears. Everything becomes centered around on keeping a man happy. That is dangerous because the more you abandon yourself, the less attractive you become emotionally. A healthy man wants a woman with purpose, a woman with identity, a woman with passion for life. There is something incredibly attractive about a woman who continues growing whether she's in a relationship or not. When a man sees that you continue choosing yourself, improving yourself, protecting your peace, and maintaining your dignity, he realizes you are not ordinary. And ordinary women are everywhere. But a woman with standards, a woman with emotional discipline, a woman who knows how to love without losing herself, That woman becomes unforgettable. And let me tell you another truth. Self-respect protects your heart from manipulation. Some people only come into your life to take advantage of your kindness. They will waste your time, drain your energy, and give you the bare minimum while expecting maximum loyalty from you. A woman without self-respect stays and keeps hoping they'll change. But a woman who values herself recognizes the signs early. She pays attention to actions, not empty words. She notices inconsistency. She notices effort. She entices honesty. And because she respects herself, she refuses to stay in situations where she feels unwanted, unloved, or constantly confused. That right there is power. See, a lot of women think power comes from beauty, followers, money, or attention. Real power is emotional control. Real power is being able to walk away from anything that destroys your peace. Real power is choosing dignity over desperation. And the moment a man meets a woman who truly understands her worth, something changes inside him. He starts trying harder. He starts showing more effort. He starts protecting the connection because he understands one thing very clearly: if he loses this woman, finding another like her will not be easy. That's why men will risk everything for a woman who respects herself. Because deep down, every man knows a woman with standards is rare, and rare things are never treated casually. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Harvey let me break something down for you that most people don't truly understand about relationships. A man will risk a lot for a woman who brings him peace, not excitement every minute, not confusion, not emotional chaos. I'm talking about real peace, the Kai. Ninth, the peace that makes a man feel like for the first time in his life, he can breathe when he's around you. See, a lot of women underestimate this power. They think men are chasing looks, money, status, or physical attraction alone. And yes, those things catch attention. But attention is not commitment. Attention is not sacrifice. Attention is not a man risking his comfort, his pride, or his future. Peace is what is that? Because let me tell you something real about men. The world already puts pressure on us. Every single day, a man is fighting battles you may never see. He's dealing with work pressure, financial stress, family responsibilities, expectations, failures, and the weight of trying to prove himself. So when he comes home or when he enters a relationship, he is not looking for another battlefield. He is looking for a place where his mind can rest. And this is where a woman becomes powerful without even realizing it. When she knows how to control her emotions, when she knows how to communicate without attacking, she can resolve conflicts and maintain healthy relationships. When she knows how to express disappointment without turning it into war, she becomes a safe space for a man. And that safety is rare. See, men don't always say it out loud, but they are deeply affected by emotional environments. If a woman is always arguing, always accusing, always assuming the worst, always reacting instead of responding, a man slowly begins to disconnect. Not because he doesn't care, but because peace is being replaced with pressure. And no man, no matter how strong he is, wants to live in constant emotional tension. But when a woman brings calm energy, something powerful happens inside a man. He starts associating her presence with relief. Her voice becomes calming instead of triggering. Her attitude becomes grounding instead of stressful. And the more peaceful he feels around her, the more he wants to be around her. Now listen carefully to this truth. A man will travel far for peace. He will change his habits for peace. He will adjust his lifestyle for peace. And yes, he will even risk losing other things for peace, because peace is not common in a man's world. It is rare. And anything rare becomes valuable. A woman who brings peace is not weak. Let me make that clear. Peace is not silence during disrespect. Peace is not accepting bad behavior. Peace is not pretending everything is fine when it's not. Real P. ACE is emotional maturity. It is knowing how to handle conflict without destroying connection. It is knowing when to speak and when to listen. It is knowing how to protect your energy while still protecting the relationship. And here's where many women miss it. They think being emotional means being powerful, but uncontrolled emotion destroys attraction. Constant drama drains a man's desire to build with you. Because instead of feeling like he's coming home, he feels like he's entering a storm. A man may tolerate drama for a while, but he will build a future with peace. Think about it. When a man meets a woman who doesn't panic over every situation, who doesn't assume betrayal at every delay, who doesn't turn small misunderstandings into emotional explosions, he starts to relax. And when a man relaxes in your presence, he starts to open up. He starts to trust. He starts to share more of himself. That is when real bonding happens, because men don't bond deeply in chaos. They bond deeply in calmness. A peaceful woman doesn't mean she has no standards. She does. She just doesn't weaponize her emotions. She knows how to talk instead of scream. She knows how to observe instead of assume. She knows how to ask instead of accuse. And that difference alone can change the entire direction of a relationship. But let me tell you something else powerful. When a man realizes that a woman brings him peace, he becomes protective of her, not just physically, but emotionally. He starts thinking twice before doing anything that might disturb the balance she brings into his life. Because now she is not just a girlfriend or a partner. She has become his safe space. And men don't want to lose their safe space. That's where the risk comes in. A man will risk misunderstandings, ego, pride, and even external distractions to protect the woman who gives him emotional stability. Because once he experiences peace with you, everything else feels chaotic without you. But here is the deeper truth most people miss. Peace is not something you demand. It is something you cultivate. A woman cannot force a man to feel peaceful. She creates the environment through her energy, her reactions, her patience, and her emotional control. And when that environment is consistent, something shifts in a man's heart. He begins to see you not just as someone he loves, but someone he needs for emo. Chanel balance. And when a man feels that level of stability with a woman, he becomes more invested, more committed, and yes, more willing to sacrifice for the relationship. Because peace is addictive to a man who has lived in chaos. And once he finds it in you, he starts to fear losing it more than anything else. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Harvey let me tell you something that most people don't realize until it's almost too late in life. A man will risk everything for a woman who challenges him to grow, not break him down. I'm not talking about a woman who constantly criticizes him. I'm not talking about a woman who tries to control him or change who he is at his core. I'm talking about a woman who sees potential in him and inspires him to become the man he is capable of being. See, every man has two versions of himself. There is the version he is living today, and then there is the version he secretly dreams about becoming. The stronger, wiser, more successful, more stable version of himself. But life, fear, distractions, and past failures sometimes keep a man stuck in the current version. And that's where a powerful woman comes in. A woman who challenges a man to grow do. It's not attack his weakness. She awakens his strength. She doesn't constantly remind him of what he's doing wrong. She reminds him of what he is capable of becoming. And that shift in energy changes everything in a man's life. Because let me be honest with you, men don't respond well to constant pressure. If a woman is always nagging, always correcting, always comparing, a man eventually shuts down emotionally. He stops listening. He starts avoiding. Not because he doesn't care, but because he feels like he is never enough. When a man feels like he can never be enough, he stops trying. But when a woman speaks life into a man, something different happens. When she says, I know you can do better, instead of you are not good enough. When she says, I believe in you, instead of you always mess up, that man starts to rise. Because now he is not trying to escape her disappointment. He is trying to live up to her belief. And let me tell you something powerful about men. We are deeply influenced by how the woman we love sees us. If she sees us as average, we slowly start acting average. But if she sees us as capable, strong, and valuable, we start stepping into that identity. A woman's perception of a man can shape his confidence, his ambition, and even his destiny. But here's the key that most people miss. Inspiring a man to grow does not mean carrying him like a child. It does not mean doing everything for him. It does not mean lowering your standards to make him comfortable. It means you stand firm in your own growth while encouraging his. A woman who is growing herself naturally inspires growth in the man she is with, because she is not stagnant. She is not stuck. She is evolving. And when a man sees a woman investing in herself, improving her mindset, building her life, and pursuing her purpose, he feels a sense of pride and satisfaction. It creates a natural desire in him to do the same. Because no man wants to feel like he is being outgrown by the woman he loves. That feeling either pushes him to level up or lose her. And the strong man, the real man, the man worth building with, he steps up, he starts working harder, he starts thinking differently, he starts taking responsibility more seriously. Now listen carefully to this truth. A man will risk comfort for a woman who challenges him to become better. Comfort is powerful. Men love comfort. We get used to routines, familiar environment, asset emotional stability. But when a woman inspires growth, she disrupts that comfort in a positive way. She pushes him toward his potential. And even though growth is uncomfortable, it is also attractive. A man may resist it at first, but deep down he respects it because he knows she is not letting him settle. She's not letting him waste his life. She's not letting him stay small when he was meant for more. That kind of woman becomes unforgettable. But let me balance this truth for you. Inspiring growth does not mean becoming his coach, his manager, or his therapist. It means being a woman with standards, vision, and self-respect, who naturally encourages better behavior simply by how she lives. You don't force his growth. You influence it through your example. And when a man realizes that being with you makes him better, not worse, something powerful happens. He starts associating you with his success. He starts connecting you to his progress. And that emotional connection becomes strong enough that he starts protecting the relationship at all costs. Because now losing you doesn't just feel like losing a woman. It feels like losing his motivation, his inspiration in him, his direction. That is when a man begins to risk everything. Not because you demanded it, not because you forced it, but because your presence activated something inside him that he doesn't want to lose. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the power of a woman who knows how to inspire growth without losing herself in the process. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Harvey let me tell you something that a lot of women don't fully understand until they've already given too much of themselves away. A man will risk everything for a woman who knows when to walk away. That might sound simple, but it is one of the most powerful emotional truths in relationships. Because walking away is not about playing games. It is not about punishment. It is about self-respect so strong that it changes how a man sees you. See, most people think holding on tighter is what keeps love alive. But in reality, sometimes holding on too tight destroys your value in someone's eyes. When a woman keeps tolerating disrespect, inconsistency, or emotional confusion, she may be experiencing emotional exhaustion, anxiety, or feelings of frustration. She slowly teaches a man that he can show up however he wants and still keep her. And once that message is learned, effort begins to disappear. But the moment a woman reaches a point where she says, I cannot stay where I am not valued, everything changes. Not because she is threatening the man, but because she is demonstrating emotional strength. And emotional strength is something men cannot ignore. A woman who knows when to walk away does not stay in situations where she is constantly questioning her worth. She does not stay where she is being half-loved. She does not stay in confusion, waiting for potential instead of reality. She understands that love without respect is not love at all. It is attachment, and attachment